Welcome to GrowthMafia.tv, the startup garage, where we build real business and real products using AI from scratch and document the whole journey. My name is Joe.
And I'm Gideon. I'm a software engineer. And Joe here has a long background in the software startup world, helping companies build MVPs, validate ideas, and get products off the ground.
And I've spent so many years in early startup phase, shaping ideas, helping founders build their first versions, managing teams. And recently I thought, why not do that all over again with AI and Gideon?
So that's exactly what this show is. We take ideas, we turn them into AI powered tools, we launch them, we test them in the market, and we share every part of the process.
We're here not pretending to be gurus. We're explorers. We're exploring, we're experimenting, we're learning, we're combining my startup experience and Gideon's development skills, and we're letting AI amplify what we can create together.
And along the way, we hope to meet interesting people, builders, entrepreneurs, influencers, business owners, anyone who's curious about what AI can do in the real world.
Now, even though this show will eventually build multiple AI products, today we're starting with project number one, and I'm so excited about it, and it's called FillMyChair.
It's an AI tool built to help hairstylists reduce no-shows, fill empty slots, and grow their income. And today we're going to walk you through the landing page, the sign-up flow, and the booking workflow.
So if you want to watch real products being launched and iterated in real time, welcome to Growth Mafia.
Let's get to work.
So I actually asked AI to help us in this show. Obviously, it's an AI-powered program. And so I asked AI to help us in this show and basically generate questions for us for this episode that Gideon and I can just go back and forth. All right.
So, Joe, question, why are we doing this and why did we decide to build multiple AI products publicly?
This is a really good question because one option, Gid, right, is that we basically go into a cave, build this, and then launch a really perfect product. But by my startup experience, is really contradicting that kind of concept. And the idea is the more people has eyes on what we're doing, the more that the product is tested. So we're looking to a product market fit. But more importantly, I'm actually inspired by this one YouTuber. I will mention him, and hopefully we can have him on the show in the future. Mention him later. But he's basically like building AI products from the things that he's seen in the market. And I'm thought to myself, you know what, I can do that. And I not only that I can do that, I can have it, I can bring Gideon in, and then we can not just talk about ideas, but we actually want to launch it, right? And not just launch it, see how it performs in the market. And hopefully we meet people in along the way in that journey. All right, so question number two is, why did we decide to build this publicly and not privately? I believe I've answered a little bit of that, but maybe you can share a thing or two about in your side as well.
For me, I wanted to really just share knowledge and share the journey of building a startup and launching it. And hopefully through this show, we can create value for others, right? To inspire and to network and connect.
Awesome. I really like this idea of just documenting. I believe it was Gary Vaynerchuk who said, document, don't create when it comes to content. I really like that. It's so freeing for you and me as well, where we just build something and then show it to people and then talk about it. How did we came up with that thought process? Because it's so important. If you want to build something, it's so important to know what's the thought process of why did we pick this product, for example, the first product we're going to share today. So the idea of sharing value and the idea of just really allowing people in to the process, and then they can copy what we're doing, right? Hopefully not copy totally FillMyChair, but just copy the process and copy the spirit of it. So what makes the question number three is, what makes this the perfect time to experiment with AI tool and products? Do you want to?
As you know, now AI is the thing. And it's really, now we have lots of tools and AI products that we can use for that won't cost you a kidney or something expensive. So you can start really with just a small monthly cost. And I think tools that we are using right now, like Lovable, Replit, and others, they're already this level where you are confident with what they can do and the output. And we've seen it, Joe, right, with other mini projects. So I just believe that it's a perfect time to leverage and make use of AI as much as
Right.
possible.
We had this conversation, Gid, when we started, because Gideon and I, we started, well, Gideon is still a software developer, but I started as a software developer as well. Kind of regretted leaving that. But then, sorry. So as a software developer, you try to build these systems, right? And not just the cost of the software when you build this system. It's actually time, right? There's so much time poured in. There's so much skill
Mhm.
in. And obviously, Gideon, you work 9 to 5, I work 9 to 5 as well. And we just didn't have, we're busy dads, right? So we just didn't have the time to do a side project. Well, we have the time, but a very limited time to build that. So I thought to myself, when I saw Replit, I heard Replit from a podcast, and I was using Replit before, but only as an online IDE interface something. So I started learning how to code again. Then they added this AI component, and I thought to myself, let me give this a try. And then I started actually building small tools for the organization that I work for. And then that was not my job for that organization. That's totally different job, right? I started building these tools and really for experimentation. But the other thing is there is just taking your point, Gid. It's also ripe. I think it's ripe time to get into this. And this is for entrepreneurs, right? For builders. Even if you don't have technical experience like myself and Gideon, you can come in, you understand the product enough, you can come in, type in words, and you just try to learn how to speak to these AI tools, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
That what we built here, what we'll show you later in the demo section of this show, is actually we didn't. I don't know. Did you write a portion of the code? No.
And I thought I would, but end up no.
My side of the development, I did not write a code,
Mhm.
certain code. I just have to have a very clear concept of what I want to achieve, and I
Mhm.
try to achieve that using the AI tools. Well, that's a long answer for a very short question.
So
Next,
the next question, Joe.
go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
First,
So now, what skills are you bringing into this project, both from your startup background and from my dev background?
all right.
Yeah.
So just
Go.
just a backstory, super quick. I did startup back in 2020, and then not did, but I was part of a startup company in 2020. And then initially, I was doing project management work, but a lot of those demand back then was like, you need to talk to founders, you need to talk to entrepreneurs, you need to talk to them, and then try to figure out what they really want to build. And then
Mhm.
so my background is like requirements analysis, project management, building the team, and this is quite handy when you're the analysis part of it, understanding what is the real output that you want from for a software to impact a business. I think what's very valuable in this, I can read code. I haven't written really long lines of codes for a long time. Write codes a little bit, write code a little bit here and there. But what's really useful, especially to fill my chair, was my background in marketing. Because I'm thinking it's really interesting, right? Because you're coming from a very technical background and you're building a portion of the software that we're going to show from a technical standpoint.
Mm.
I would come in, I'm like, you know what? I think this is what they need, right? And so I think my input to this, and hopefully I'm able to grow that function or input or responsibility to other.
Mhm. So for me, I've worked as a software engineer for 17 years, more than 17 years. And so I'm familiar with how the development life cycle is and the technologies that exist. But I think the skills that I'm bringing in to the show is that I'm really quick at learning the technology and identifying pieces and how to make use of them. And just like doing Lego, right? What's the right piece to use and architecting application. And other than that, I'm really, as I grow in my software engineering, I tend to become more of focusing on what value am I creating with the software that I'm building. Where when I was younger, I was like focused on the technical, this and that. But and I find this using this AI can easily quickly do MVPs
Yeah,
and
absolutely. You're right about quickly building MVPs because I feel like some of the projects, not all of the projects that we did when I was still in the startup, a lot of them can be built right away and
Mhm.
at lower cost. This is something that we'll be exploring in this show, right? Next question is, what do we want or what do we hope people get from watching this journey?
Yeah, it's a good question. Maybe help inspire builders and entrepreneurs. Because sometimes when you are starting something, right, and you have an idea and then you start building it, you get tangled with small details and you eventually will end up not launching. And with the help of AI, that would eliminate that excuse, right? For, let's say, oh, I don't know how to build a website, a page, or because with AI, you can just tell it, this is the idea, this is the problem that I'm trying to solve. Create me this app that will do this and do that, and then you can have something to launch. Hopefully, it will inspire people to just get started. And also, as we share the journey, right? So we just don't share all the positives and the happy path, the good ones, but we share everything. Transparency. If we encounter any issues or mistakes along the journey or challenges, we'll be sharing that in this show. And hopefully that would help people too. What did you?
I think you're right in terms of I'm just thinking about what you just said. What actually we're doing is quite risky in
Mhm.
some ways, right? Because Phil my chair could fall off. I mean, it could succeed. There's always a chance, and also it
Mhm.
could fail, right? It could not. It's possible it won't gain traction, and that's the
Mhm.
other thing that's risky about this. The other thought that I really like about what you said is this is not a young person's technology. It's everybody. Whether you might be on your 50s, right? And you're watching this episode and you're thinking, good for them. They have like technical background. Good for them. They're comfortable with it. What I'm
Mhm.
finding when I'm working with Riplet and Lovable, and I think recently I played around with Gemini 3 or Gemini
Mhm.
5. I'm thinking like this is any person's technology. That's really the goal of AI is to make it simple for everybody. And on that note, even Gid, and I don't know if you've heard something similar, a lot of developers right now are being replaced by these tools, which is quite
Mhm.
scary. You and I, we invested a lot of our time on the industry, the technology behind it. So I'm saying that so because this the lesson or the value that the people I think will get from this is that you know what, it doesn't matter how old I am. People who will be watching this, they might be on their 40s or 50s, and they don't have 17 years of programming experience. What
Mhm.
you said, Gideon, right? Is that no, and you didn't even write a line of code for this. You just have to look at what's really valuable and then what value can this application add or can this software add, and then I just have
Mhm.
to tell it what it wants. The other side of it is not just the development aspect of it. There are so many things when you launch a startup, right? One is validation, meaning to say customers. Do you have customers? And my hope is that in the future episodes we launch Fill My Chair, we'll give you insight of like when we did this marketing strategy and this is the effect, right? This is how many
Mhm.
subscribers we've gotten. I'm hoping we're gonna get to that point where we actually launch it and this is how much money we actually put in to get
Mhm.
much customer, right? And this is how many users that we have. These are their concerns, blah, right? So
Yep.
my hope is that you get the insider's view of what is it to build something like this. So let's talk a little bit about Fill My Chair, because when one of my friends, when I shoot him this idea that we have already, you and I get, we've already built it. I said, we built
Mhm.
this. The first question that he asked me was this question, and he said, "Why did you decided to focus on the beauty industry and stylists?" Do you want me to answer that, or do you, go at it?
No, I'm thinking of a joke, but I think it will be best answered by you, Joe. You're once a hairstylist.
Well, yeah, as a hairstylist, both of us are like you didn't have hair, uh,
Yeah.
and then we're like, anyway. So I worked back in between 2020 to 2023. I worked with a hairstylist. And she's actually a coach for hairstylists, and that's when I saw that the demand in terms of their work and what are their struggles as well. But more importantly, in terms of validation, because I'm all thinking about all this? How do we, you're not just saying, I want to build something, but you are saying, I want to build something. Who is it for and how easy it is for me to find them? Right? Those
Mhm.
are questions that you want to ask yourself when you start building something like this. And so when the question of where can I find them, I already found a database of things online that we can tap and we can use our list of stylists. And I think there are more from our little bit of research. And I'm going to share to you a product summary. And I think that's what this is really important.
So basically, Joe, what you're saying is the reason we specifically choose this is because you already know the audience, right?
I have some
And
knowledge.
you're familiar with.
I have some knowledge of the audience. I have some knowledge of who is this for. And then I went to ChatGPT and then tried to just go back and forth with this is what we want. The other thing, by the way, is our goal initially is to get to $10,000 a month, build a business that's $10,000 a month worth. And so in my head, how do you get to that? And so went to ChatGPT, going back and forth in terms of pain points. I asked ChatGPT for this specific industry, what are the pain points? And then if you're thinking about building a business, you have to ask that question. What problem do am I solving? What's the pain point? And
Mhm.
specific industry, one of the pain points are no shows, right? And in my mind, is it painful enough so that they will actually pay you monthly? If there's a problem, if there's a software out there that can solve this problem, is it painful enough that they will pay you monthly? And I
Mhm.
said this to Gideon, and I'm going to share this to you. So this is even before we talk about having a show, even before we started using Replit, using Love,
Mhm.
even before that, we started with this document. By the way, we also have another idea for this specific audience, and we'll probably share that in some episode. Why we didn't push to on that idea, right? I don't know. Maybe Gideon has his own version of it. I surely have like a gut feel like this is a little bit. It's not mature enough. That's mine. But this one is a
Mhm.
little bit mature, I believe. Let me just share my screen now. So if you look at this, this is the product summary and the plan. So this is the output from ChatGPT. Let me just zoom in. I'm thinking of what's the best way to go about the program, right? That I feel like it's very useful for a lot of people to understand that. So this is the FillMyChair. It is a SaaS platform designed to independent hairstylists, micro salon owners to stop losing money on no shows and cancellations based on extensive analysis of the current hairstylist pain point. This product there targets the number one financial leak in the salon industry: lost time and revenue, no shows. So
Mhm.
you'll see later on, this is what FillMyChair essentially is. And then the hairstylist, recurring miserable financial pain, no show is all right, 3 to 8%. I think it's probably more in some areas. And then you'll have the ROI is instantly $200 a month for 29. So $200 per month for $29 subscription. So the value proposition there is 7x the $29, right? So
Mhm.
as you go forward here, I'm still debating in my head whether I shared this in the show notes or not, but you can definitely just screenshot some of this. And this is the plan for the lead magnet. So the lead magnet, we are thinking of a calculator to qualify to basically it calculates lost revenue and the visitors personalized report and then ask them to sign up.
Mhm.
So this is the final overview. We'll have for awareness, we'll use social media, and then the calculator will be the engagement. And then in that, it has changed a little bit as you'll see later in the demo. And then we'll provide a trial period and then the tracker, then the financial projection. So assuming you have 10,000 active stylists, 8,000 are solo users, and then micro salons, 2,000, right? So you
Mhm.
end up with a monthly recurring revenue of 390 or 4.6 million annual. So note that what I told ChatGPT is like I need 100K annual realistic income. So
Mhm.
it's also telling me that for me to get to 100K, I just need 350 active paying users. You could just imagine because sometimes we're thinking, I need $100K business, right? Sometimes you can't imagine how many users, right, that you need. But with this, it's very plain. When I saw this, that's pretty doable, right? 350 is not that hard. What are your thoughts on this, again, when you saw this?
Yeah, I find it fascinating. You just tell it, and then it will do a projection for you, right? This is how much, this is your goal, and it just ChatGPT were able to come up with an estimate, and good based on existing data that's already on the internet, right? And it can come up with a computation that with target 100K, you'll just need 350 active users. And if you're looking at this number, it's definitely an easy target, I would say.
As well,
Yeah.
in terms of estimates, I believe I have an 8,000 just for one specific type of beauty service. I believe I have like 8,000 contact information that's publicly available. I don't have to buy this from the black market, you know.
Mhm.
And so my goal is just hopefully get in touch with the 8,000, and then if I convert 10%, right, of the 8,000, that's 800. So that's, and then I'll hopefully out of the 800, half of them are willing to pay $29 to just solve
Y-
right.
And for the problem that you're solving, right, you're saving them. Let's say if you're saving them 300 and you're charging them 30, it's a no-brainer for
No brainer. Yeah.
yes.
That's what attracted me to this as well. $29 isn't a lot. If I'm losing $400 a month, I'm willing to part $29 just to make sure. And as I grow, right? As I grow in a business, that loss will increase. And so that's what I calculate. Now let's look at the build plan. So when you see tech stack here is definitely very technical, right? So you have your React.js, Tailwind for the front end, Node.js in the back end. Don't be afraid. So if you don't have any technical experience, don't be afraid of this. This is just telling you that if you use Replit or Lovable, this will be what's built under the hood. And you can also select specific tech stack if you're a technical guy. And sometimes maybe you're thinking, what if in the future I need to go under the hood and actually rebuild the whole thing? That's fine. It's just telling you that there's going to be a front end, a back end, a database, a payment integration. We're using Stripe right now. And then the automation. So right now, automation, I don't know, are we already using either Twilio, SendGrid, or not yet?
Yeah, for our first P, we're using Resend. We're just doing email notification to start, and we can add SMS later.
And then when you say we're using Resend, are you aware of Resend prior to this, or is this
I've only known about Resend through ChatGPT. So
the same thing? So
yeah.
the AI will actually recommend products for you. And you know what? Just do it. Because I have experience with Twilio and SendGrid and setting up automations, email automation, SMS automation. I do have experience doing that. But then when I was building it in Lovable, it was like set up a recent account, and I'm like, this is my first time to see this, and then might as well do it.
I tried SendGrid, I think, long time ago, and already forgot. But with AI, if there's something that you're not sure, you don't know, or you don't understand, you can always ask it, and it will help you explain to you and help you understand, and remove that any doubt or
Yeah, just if you're afraid that like I
Yeah.
might not be able to get my head around the technical aspect of it, don't worry. There's always a way for you to ask AI, and even ask AI to teach you the concept. Conceptually, what is that? For some of us, we can't learn without understanding the overview, right? That's my case. If you give me a little piece, I'm like, what does this piece? Where does this piece fit in the whole landscape of what or what we're doing? And it does help me understand flow information. You don't have to, if you that's your issue, then you can ask whatever AI that you're working with to teach you, right? Hosting, render, Vercel, Gideon will handle the UI database, focus on UX workflow, copywriting, funnels. I think we're mostly doing this, right, as well. So rare to fill my chair positioned at the intersection of high pain, low competition niche. So hopefully, if someone watch this and you want to compete, now it's a low competition niche. Let's not make it a high competition niche. So any further thoughts before we go for a demo, Gid?
Can't think of any. I'm excited to show what we have so far.
I will start with the funnel, and then I'll just. It should be very quick, and then Gideon will start on the sign up and things like that. So let me again share my screen here, and I'm using Lovable. There we go. I'm using Lovable. Gideon's Lovable. There you go. Where do I go here? I just click that, and then it will show me what's going on. Right. How do I go to the projects?
You scroll down, it will show up.
That always gets me. Here we go. So this is the project. What I want to do is I want to launch the whole thing. I think we've launched it in, what was that?
That FillMyChair.
Offer. Here we go. Offer that FillMyChair. Right. So,
I'm not seeing it. I think you're sharing the Lovable tab.
All right, let me just share the window. Perfect. Here we go. There you go. So idea that so when I started it didn't look like this, and you might be thinking it's quite simple in terms of look and feel. And I
Mhm.
intentionally did it this way. I was debating in my head whether to add a photo or not. Normally, what you have are videos, and obviously, like Gideon and I were not hairstylists, and so we're not an authority to just tell them like, in my salon, I'm losing this much money, and now because of this. No, no. So again, the goal there is a campaign before this, and that will be in the social media, that will be in Facebook, that will be in TikTok, right, or Instagram, where there should be sort of a copy, calculate how much, at least in my head right now, how much you're losing every month for clients who didn't show up, something like that. And so hopefully with this, it will say lose 300 to 1,200, and then you'll get a free revenue loss report in 60 seconds. Then once you click this, right, you will go through a series of questions. So we're targeting solo businesses and salon stations. So let's just go to the solo path for now. This is really just asking you basic question and calculating how much you're really losing. So they say, for example, a client, you have, let's just say as a solo person, you have 20, let's just say 20 client appointments per week. Let's just say you charge, I don't know, maybe 45. I could be wrong. I know
Mhm.
now they're like probably charging 75 or something. And let's just use the 8%. That's the higher end of what our report said, right? 8%.
Mhm.
Let's just say right now, if someone books you, you know what? The worst part here is if you don't have a booking calendar, sure you're relying on in walk-ins, you're losing more than this, right? So it's so important to have a booking calendar. And if you do have a booking calendar and people are just booking from it and then they're not really showing up, and there's no way for them to know when their booking is, and then all these kind of things, there's just so much value with communicating to your customers beforehand. So right now, one of the things is, do you collect deposits, right? So if you don't collect deposits, it will calculate for you.
I think you need to select.
Oh, sorry. I thought it's a bug. And believe it's a bug. And so it will show you a report. And this is where we collect the name and email, right? And let's just say, just for now, email at email.com. And then it says that you're losing 288. So that's just from 8%. So if you have 8% no show, this is how much you're losing, right? So in a year, now 288 in a year, it's $3,000, over $3,000 per month. There's so many things that you can do for your business of $3,000, right? So issue is not your booking system, right? It's not the issue of your booking system. It's just really because you have policies, you don't have anything installed there in your policies, right? So you can recover 230 to 288 if you correctly set up. If you have a booking system, and one, your booking system will enable you to collect deposits, and then two, if your booking system enables you to message. So say for example, someone cancels, right? If someone can
Mhm.
say you have 20 customers that week, but then the next week you have like 10 already being booked. If someone cancels from your 20, this system will message the 10 from last week and say, hey, we have a cancellation next Tuesday. Do you want to take it or not? And then people will just try to grab that seat, right? So you will always have a filled up chair week, which is quite exciting. So now this is your personal recovery plan. The other thing is you gave your email there. The recovery plan will go to your email. So you'll see how much you're losing, what's the annual impact, and what's your potential recovery. And you see here per month, you'll see your growth, the gain that you have.
Mhm.
So this is the flow. This is what FillMyChair is. You have automated reminders. You have a smart wait list management. That's exactly what I mentioned. And then you have a deposit.
Mhm.
Just these three things that's implemented within the policy. If you're a hairstylist, right, you will definitely increase your revenue. We're not even talking about like getting new clients. We're just talking about from your personal clients, like this,
Existing.
you will get more money. So once you want to deal with that, right, if you want to deal with that, you can start a free trial. And Gideon, do you want to continue here or?
Should we continue, or should, because I just popped up, would it be good if you can go through how you're able to create this landing page? Maybe people are
Oh,
thinking, oh, the landing page is so nice, and
very
it
good.
seems like, oh, how can I do this with using this lovable
Absolutely.
tool?
That's a good point, Gideon, because my marketing mind took over, and so let's shift to coaching perspective. So, right. So, how did I came up? So, first, there's multiple aspect to this. The first one is the copy, right? So, the
Mhm.
copy is the first one is like what is that message that I will send out? So, one of the things I first deal with is I ask ChatGPT again a copy for this specific market. So the prompt that I use, it's funny that people are hired. There are people who used to be hired for prompt engineering, but now I think ChatGPT can figure things out just by any level of prompt, right, that you'll give it. And basically, here I started with feeding ChatGPT specific text. And then when my iteration, I don't know if you can see, this is my history here. This is just a back and forth between me and the AI. So before I built this, I started telling ChatGPT, this is my target audience, this is the pain point. I need you to create a copy, right, for a landing page. And so it generated me idea, and then I fit it to Lovable, right?
Mhm.
And then when I started, I wish I can show you guys the previous version because it was not really that good. It was sometimes it looks very complicated. And in my mind, it has to be super simple. It has to say, this is how much you're losing and this is how you can recover it. And so
Mhm.
one of the people I really look up to in the marketing world is a guy named Russell Brunson from ClickFunnels.
Uh-huh.
And so I thought maybe Russell has some ideas here. And so I told Replit, sorry, Lovable, I told
Love
Rob,
it.
hey, can you change the copy such that it would, how Russell Brunson would do it? Like build it as
Mhm.
if Russell Brunson would do it. And so it looked like this. And in my head, like that brings home the point. Now, not everybody, you might be thinking, like, but it should be more formal. But the thing is, if you're losing money, you just don't need formality. You just need, what is it that you want me? That's in my head.
Mhm.
The customers are screaming already. If they're in so much pain, they're screaming already of what is it that you're solving, and tell me how can I benefit from it. It has to show. No, you're losing this. You want to recover from it. That's how simple it is. All of this, guys, I did not write a code. I did not design this. The numbers here. So my role in this project is just reviewing and reading, and I'm thinking and always editing. I don't think that's the, and I would have a back and forth with Replit. Where like, I don't think that will fit, and it would say, oh, you're right. And I'm dealing not just with Replit, oh sorry, with Lovable, but I'm also dealing with ChatGPT. So I'm actually inputting for both, and then I'm reviewing it. And in my mind,
Mhm.
I'm putting myself in the shoe of a stylist. So we're like, do I really need this or do I not? Right? And
Mhm.
will it impact me? I have this concept called it should gravitate. I should gravitate to it. And if I'm not the stylist, right? If it's too complicated for me, then it might be too complicated as well for anyone who's looking at this. So, yeah, obviously, this needs to be tested, right? I feel good
Mhm.
about this, but by the end of the day, we'll know next week. We'll get subscribers.
And how long did it take you to come
It
up
took
with
me
this
some time.
final landing page?
It took me some time because my first setting, obviously, I spent a couple of hours and then I finished the whole thing, including the quizzes. So initially, I was thinking of a calculator, but in my
Mhm.
head, what if that scares people? What if you'll just be asked? So it's like a quiz funnel. I don't know if you know what the quiz funnel
Mhm.
is. So a quiz funnel is basically it's just asking you questions, but it's also gathering data. And then once it gathers data, it gives you a solution that is customized to your need. And that's what and
Okay.
what's in my head that should look like. So I shift it to answer your question. Maybe a couple of hours at the very beginning, and then I went to bed and then did not look at it for a couple of days, and then went back and I have this like eureka moment. You know what? I have to make it simple because the first time I saw it, it was really not simple. It was so professionally done that I feel like it's not giving them, how will I describe it? I think we need something that provides a very clear message, and it
Mhm.
was not very clear at the very beginning. It was so professional. You know how it is with this SaaS website. Sometimes it will not tell you what problem that is solved. It will just tell
Mhm.
you,
Yeah.
it's like a lot of rocket ships flying around in the website, and
Uh-huh.
you're not really understanding what exactly are they solving and how can they help me. And to me, that's what I want. If someone comes to this landing page, they know exactly what they're gonna get, and they
Mhm.
know exactly why they sign up, and they know exactly why they'll paying subscription.
So basically, most of the time you were thinking on the idea, how the page looked. But in terms of technical and building that page, and that's
I
amazing, right? If you think of
so
it, if you do it without AI, Joe, how long would it take?
usually, so that's a good question. Background, also started building landing pages for different businesses from 2020 to 2024. Even 2025, I still do. I think the last landing page I did was a few months ago, and I usually budget about 2 weeks of work. 2 weeks, sometimes 4 to 5 hours per day.
Mhm.
So in a week I'll be done. Maybe less than a week I'll be done. But then there's a lot of changes, and it usually spans about 2 weeks. So this is, and I tell you, maybe I spent 5 hours total for this one. So about a day versus,
Mhm.
so if I work 5 hours per day before, 5 times 10, that's 50 hours, right? And I
Mhm.
use about 90% savings in terms of hours.
So that's what's amazing about using this.
Amazing. And I don't have to, and you know what? That's just designing, right? Copy is quite complicated.
That's
Built
one too.
so hard. And I used to hire copywriter for the
Mhm.
website. I'm not saying you should never hire copywriter. I'm just saying for someone to do this, I would have hired someone. I would have paid that person a good sum of money.
So should we proceed with the?
You want to share?
I'll share my screen.
This is good so far, and I hope that while you're watching this, you're thinking, this is something that I can do myself, right?
Mhm.
I want to try. All right, go ahead,
Yeah.
get.
This is the homepage for the FillMyChair app, and this is built using Riplet. And I'm just gonna quickly go through the process of how we built this app. So first thing is when Joe shared the idea about FillMyChair and the document that he showed earlier. So I copied that and put that to ChatGPT and brainstormed the idea with ChatGPT for me to understand and to me to know what would it take to build the app and what would be a good first be so that we could launch as soon as possible without getting through all the features or details that probably we don't know the market would want or would use. So that was my first step, brainstorm with ChatGPT. And then once I grasp the idea of how the app would look like, I started to plan with ChatGPT, using ChatGPT on what would be the phases to build this on Riplet. And that's how we identified our phase one. We'll do this. Phase two, integrate with Stripe. Phase three,
I have a
do the
question
email.
before you proceed,
Right.
like because we've always talked about Replit and Lovable. I know you're a Lovable guy. What was the thinking there of going to Replit this time?
The only reason is because this is like a stylist would sign up, and we would need a stylist to connect their Stripe account. And basically, with Lovable is I believe it doesn't have back end. You can't do back end code yet with Lovable. And that feature integrating with Stripe to individual stylists, it would require a back end. So that's the only reason.
If
I
you're
love Lovable.
and you're watching this and you disagree with what we think, you know what? Shoot us a message because we want to try as well, right? Maybe in
Mhm.
one of few projects that we'll be building in the future. We want, if you have that feature, we're willing to try it. I agree with Gid. That's my thinking as well. My impression with Lovable is it's good for websites. I could be wrong, right? Because their design is quite nice as well. But with things like this, where you need an administrative back end, you're connecting to Stripe, I feel like I'm more comfortable with Replit. But let us know if you disagree with that. Go ahead, Gid.
Mhm. So once I identified the phases, so we start building phase by phase. I've learned that from my work experience. I don't know, maybe in the future AI will be so much smarter. You just tell it and it will do 90% perfect. But I've learned that it's better to do it in stages, in phases. Don't tell it to do the whole thing right away. So that's what I did. So I asked ChatGPT, give me a Replit prompt to build phase one. And that's what I did. It generated the prompt because ChatGPT already knew about the app and because we've already brainstormed it. So he already has the context and knows how to build the right prompt that could be used for Replit. So just copy pasted that to Replit. And to my surprise, in my first time using Riplet, Riplet just builds it, and you will see from the logs that it will say, "Let me call the architect to review," and then it will test it with the actual, you can see it in a preview that it will test the site, and it will create the account and do things like that. So it's pretty amazing. And that's when I didn't have to do any code at all. Just if you have the right prompt, partnership with ChatGPT, the Replit can build the app to as in your specification, in your requirements. So this is the sign up page. So let me sign up quickly. So when you create, it will immediately get you to with the onboarding process. So as a stylist, you need to input your salon name, and then you can enter details like your phone number. And next step is for the stylist to add the services, say haircut. And then you can add a description and then how long it would take, 45 minutes, and then $75. Let's do that. And then and the next step is we'll ask a hairstylist to basically define the policy, cancellation policy, and no-show policy. So I'm just going to leave it this one, the default one. And then this is the part where you tell it, would you require a deposit to book, and whether you want a fixed amount or a percentage. Let's just say a percentage, 20. And then this one is basically you specify how many hours before a client can cancel without incurring any charge or fees, or without the customer lose his deposit. So I'll just leave that to 24 hours. And there's this option for early cancellation fee if the stylist wants to always charge a fee every time a customer cancels. That's also an option.
Let me just insert something here. And this is very important for stylists. And this is something that I've learned while I was working with stylists, right? Because the most stylists that, depending on the size of your business, right? They have a verbal policy. So they don't really have this automated. And so a lot of those policies don't get enforced, right? And it would be nice to have a system that will enforce those policies. And this is the way to do it.
So I'll click continue. And the next step is basically to allow the stylist to connect his Stripe account. So if I click this one, it will redirect to the Stripe. And this is where you can specify if you already have an existing account, you can connect it. If you don't have one, I believe you can create one on the fly. This is already on Stripe. And for now, we are using the Stripe sandbox. So this would be just test accounts. But I'm going to skip this for now. Just so the Replit was able to write the code to make sure that it integrates with Stripe. And if there's anything that it needs from you, to ask from you, what's the Stripe key or secret or things like that. So I'll skip, and then you're brought to the dashboard. So this would be the stylist dashboard. And here you would see what are the appointments for today. And here is the list of appointments for the day and how many appointments this week. And here in the profile, that is where you define the policies. And this is also where you can pick up the stylist booking URL. In this case, it will be this. I'll show you later how to book. And this is also where you can update the deposit settings. And we have here the services. You can add more than one service. And this will show you all the appointments. And then the next step, probably, I think we can have an update to make this part of the onboarding process as well. But this is where the stylist could define his schedule. Let's say he only does Monday, and he does it in per hour time slots. So he can specify the time. So let me just save this, and I'll show you later to book. And if you want to configure the Stripe connection, you'll just have to go to the settings. So now let's go to the booking part and what the clients would see. Sorry, it's a bug. FillMyChair.
I'm thinking now we probably will need to implement a way for them to integrate this on their own website, either as an embedded calendar, or this will be their website.
That will be something we can do in future episodes. So this is the booking page. And as salon customer, you select the service like this. And this is where it shows you the calendar. As you seen earlier, I only set Monday. So you go to December, all the Mondays will be
Nice.
green. And then if you click on that, you will see the time slots that I choose earlier. Let's say do 10 a.m. and then enter the phone number. And this is where it shows you the price, how long it will take, the date and time, and the deposit that's due. So now it says simulated because we're not connected to actual Stripe yet. And it also shows the customer, the policies, the cancellation policy and no-show policy. So I confirm this. And now what happens here is that an email will be sent to the customer for the booking information and a link to cancel, which that part we're still working on it. We'll eventually show it in next episode. And
Yep.
now if I go back as a salon, as the stylist, if I go back to the dashboard, now I will see the bookings. Oh, I forgot what email I entered to sign up, but
No.
let me just find a user. I even forgot what password I entered. Oh no. Normally when doing demos, especially at work, I prepare. But this is on the spot. So I know. Did I put one? You know what? I'll go here. Am I sharing my whole screen, Joe? No,
There's a tab.
let me present this. So I'll just do it here because this is the dev. The one I'm showing you earlier was the one we published.
Yep.
So the dev, let me see. Here we go. Oh man, this is not what I want. We'll just edit this video. Here we go. Let me hide this. So this is the dashboard, and you go here to appointments. This is where you see all the appointments.
Nice. Status canceled. So if you click, this is my first time to see the appointment side. If you click like this, the drop down on what does that say? Does it? Is it you who's setting it up like that, or is the salon owner?
I think the salon owner, it allows the salon owner to update, let's say, manually. This is for manual update. So this is still something in terms of UX that
For sure. Right away, I think the dashboard should show sales.
This is what we have for now. The appointments.
But this is my opinion. We can launch this as is. We can launch this as is. Get initial beta testers. So anything else that like to show before I move to just lessons that we've learned and what's the next step?
So just to give you an idea of how long it took for me to build this app, including spent like probably 2 hours brainstorming with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And then it's probably didn't take me more than 1 day to build the whole thing.
And would you say outside of AI, using AI, how long would it take for you to build something like this?
For this one, probably would take 2 months at least.
Maybe more, right? Because
maybe more.
You have a front end guy and you have a back end guy, and you just in the industry, it probably would take. For us, we usually estimate for MVPs, we usually estimate about 6 months to build it. And this is not a knock on programmers for sure. I'm in the industry. You're in the industry, right? It's just for me, it's like an amazing thing. You can build something that's really, really fast, and I'm blown away. And I had the same experience with Replit at the very beginning when I started building apps on Replit. I was blown away, and because I never thought that it could build things that fast. An hour with so much. There's just so much things that needs to be done. Did you run into problems wherein it's not doing what you wanted to do, and then did you run into problems like that?
No, I think having it brainstorm with ChatGPT and defining the phases and the prompt properly with ChatGPT, that helped because once you tell Replit, it's already clear from the instructions what it needs to do.
That's a really good point. And for you who are listening at home or watching at home regarding this, it's a really good practice. I have a folder on my ChatGPT where all my prompts for this specific project is there, and then I can ask ChatGPT for usually my question to ChatGPT is, can you build me a prompt for Replit? Can you build me a prompt for Lovable? And it's really helpful that you start with that. I did run into problems, and I don't know, and maybe I should learn how you handle the prompts, because I did run into problems wherein something is amiss. For example, like Lovable, there were grammar issues, and sometimes Lovable, I would say this part, I would copy paste that part and say there's a problem with this grammar, and it would say I'm correcting it, and it's still not correcting the actual page. I do have those issues, What I usually do is I screenshot it, highlight it, and then send it to send it to Replit or Lovable, whatever I'm using, and I basically move this, and it would like, oh, I figured it out what you're trying to do, which is really neat. It's like talking to an engineer, right?
With Lovable, I've experienced similar what you just mentioned. I've encountered it a lot where there was an error,
Yeah,
it's not able to do what I wanted it to do. But somehow with Replit, probably I believe it's because of the way the prompt was written that it
I
was
think
able to clearly.
the different phases because in my
Mhm.
mind, if I'm doing Replit, I'm just like, you just go generate it from ChatGPT and go, no thinking of phases. I did have a problem, and this is something we can tackle in the next episode because I had issues with when I started building a mobile app in Replit. I was not able to get it to launch for some reason and just give up. But we'll build mobile apps definitely here, right? So in this channel, in this show.
Initially, a first booking page it did. Let me go to the booking. Sorry. It was not showing the calendar. So it was some pretty basic. And I ended up going back to ChatGPT, brainstorming, oh, this is the thing, and I wanted to show up the calendar and highlight the days, and then just come up with a good prompt, and then tell Replit to let's change the booking page to show a calendar and make sure that for the date it shows which ones are available, and it was able to do it on one iteration. And I'm personally, I don't know, maybe I haven't used Lovable for a month now, so maybe it's already improved. But in my experience with Driplet, it was pretty great. It was like, oh,
Are you a fan now? Have you been a big
after doing this, because I'm surprised, I didn't expect. I was expecting to do some coding, and because I was already anticipating that there might be issues, and I
yeah.
want to help
Well,
AI pinpoint directly what could be the issue. Because
yeah.
sometimes with Lovable, you just keep on going back and forth, and it's not able to solve the problem,
Well,
and you have to tell it.
from someone who builds funnels for a
Mhm.
living for quite some time, I felt like Lovable was really good. And I didn't have that issue back and forth. There were just like minor stuff. You haven't changed the footer and the header. And I'm really keen to all these things. With Replit, I'm pretty impressed. My first experience with software like this, with AI like this, is with Replit. And I'm a big fan of Replit. And I'm also a big fan of Lovable. And there's a place for both of them. Maybe Gemini 5, I'm going to give it a try. Right. So this is what are the next steps in your mind, Gid, on the next episode?
Before I go that, do you want us to discuss about the costs and building this app? Just to give the
Sure, sure.
audience an idea.
I
So
don't know
to
they're paying for it.
so to build this whole thing, so with Replit, I subscribe to this plan. Let me go there. The core plan, which is $25 per month. But then
You
I
credits,
I
right?
used up all the
Yeah.
credits.
How much of it
But
did you pay for it? Usage, yeah.
for now, the total, it cost me $75 to build the whole app that
Is that
we
a
can launch. It's not bad. Mhm.
you're essentially like paying mid-level engineer in the United States for 1 hour? Was it?
Yeah, for 1 hour of work.
Yeah.
Yes.
So to me that's good. Lovable side, how much am I paying in Lovable? Is it like 20 as well?
Yeah, it's also 20. No, with Lovable, it carries over unused credits.
Oh
So
yeah.
you plenty.
Replit is brutal because like I didn't use Replit for quite some time, like a month or two, and I
Mhm.
never had a carried over. Wish they've done that. Like the credits should have carried over. Anyway, total cost would be around $100.
Yeah, I
So
would say $100 for this kind of app.
that and that doesn't include, of course, like I would say the mental investment, right? Like researching yeah, in terms of development cost, that's pretty cheap, right? Right. As you like to add?
Yeah, and other than that, with Replit, when you publish it, so you don't have to pay anything for hosting. It comes
Oh
with
yeah.
the subscription. I believe once you reach a certain, you would incur costs. But
You
yeah,
want to get to the point wherein it's just too much traffic, right?
yeah.
There's so many users. That's what. Yeah.
I have a friend I talked earlier week where he was using Cursor to build his app. And then he was saying, okay, so we're planning to deploy it. So he had this where he deploys and he would pay $20 for it. I say, hey, you should use Triplet. It already comes with hosting.
So now this that should be like as free hosting, a free channel.
Yeah, some.
there. Anyway,
Next
stuff.
steps.
Yeah, next. So in my mind, and maybe you can like in my mind, we need to launch it before the next episode, and
Mhm.
then I know I still have comments with, and we discussed this during the show, where like it would be nice to have this, but I think as it is, already launch it. We can already have like I think it's ready, at least on your end. I know in mine there's still the email side needs to be fixed. Then other than that, it should be fine. I think the only thing that's missing there was like the email
Yeah.
and PDF from report, but then other than that, it should be okay. Yeah. And then I'm wondering now because I don't have a. I will ask. Where will I find the people who sign up on this, and maybe for us to see those as well, right? Because some of them might not get converted right away.
Yeah. So next step, would need to integrate resend and then the form on the offer page. And then it would basically, we would know from resend the ones that
Right.
subscribe.
Okay, we know
And
from,
then
but it would be nice to have anyway. Yeah, would be perfect. Okay.
that would be the next step for the landing page to integrate with resend
Yeah.
and
And it
sign up
should
form.
go to the form, and then marketing wise, and set up a budget for Facebook ads. Thinking of hiring a VA. I'm not sure yet 100% on like what person will do, but maybe someone who will. Oh, the other thing on the marketing side, we have to build the social media of it. 10x Salon needs to be launched. 10xsalon.com, right? That's the URL that
Yeah.
we're using. Salon.com needs to be launched. So that's the other thing that I'll build probably in Lovable on what it looks like. And 10x Salon should point to FillMyChair. In terms of like high level, where we're going with this, um, one will be this one. Then phase two, Gideon I will be building a AI coach for revenue. So it's a revenue driven AI coach that will help stylists not just save on their booking, but also get guidance week per day on the specific activities that they need to do to get them to a new level in terms of where their business is at. So imagine if someone, how much do you pay for coaching nowadays? Like $2,000 or something per month.
Mhm.
Some of them they charge like of 80,000 per year to 100,000. I know like some cases it's like, right, for coaching. Imagine if you have in your fingertip tips, you just give that AI. This is how I imagine. We haven't built it this yet, but imagine if you give this coach your last 3 months of revenue, sales and expenses. You give that person, that coach, it will ask you questions like, you marketing, how are you doing this, how are you doing this, and let's just take that data and then generate a custom plan for you to get to like 200
Mhm.
300,000 per year, right? It will transform like business, and that's my vision of like the revenue mentor, revenue coach would look like. What do you think?
So you wanted to record it as we build that initial.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
thinking. Oh well, definitely. So the for those of you who are like with this one, we built it separately, right? I built the
Mm.
landing page my own time, but I think what we can do for this one is we can record the like an hour while you
Mhm.
build it together, or you'll build it, I'll be there, or
Okay.
however it would look like, right?
Mhm.
And oh, I started building like one, two, and three of them.
Mhm.
Sure. So I'm open to like because I've learned so many things just while building it.
Mhm.
Then we can have our own revenue mentor. Because I have in my mind, I have this thing wherein I have this vision of like how would it look like, and it would not look like blank chat GPT. It would look like a dashboard. It will tell you your sales. You tell your
Mhm.
expense. It will tell you number of bookings. It will tell you like information, and it will ask you, like, hey, you haven't informed me.
Yep.
This is like beginning of the month. You haven't shared me your last month's revenue,
Mhm.
right? A pain when someone does that to you, but like it's not a pain if a machine, if an AI does that to you, right? And it
Mhm.
will actually share to you like steps like this number of times, generate that, this campaign, increase your rates this much, right? And then those kind of things it's quite exciting to me. That's the next level. Phase three, I'm not even gonna announce phase three because I'm not sure if I want to do it. There's no tug in my spirit right now to like but
Mhm.
phase two is definitely good. And there's just so many applications. If like just for that vertical, but that same concept, Gid, if we transform that to another vertical, it's this same thing, but just focus on another business type. And I
Mhm.
think it will really benefit. I know I would use it. It will really benefit business person, the founders. Okay. But yeah, as you'd like to share, like looking at our notes here. Yeah, good.
Yeah, looking forward to getting that done and recorded. Sounds to me, if you depending on how you look at it, first time I will be building that like an AI expert coach,
Oh, it's not
such
that
of a thing.
it's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's I think what would be harder is how do we differentiate it if someone like another Gideon, another Joe,
So
we
so
have to.
I'm kind of not excited, but like I wonder how the AI, what kind of output for that as we go, and it will exceed our expected or
Hopefully it will exceed expectation. I
mm,
think it will. If you're watching this and if you're a hairstylist, right? If you're a business person, you think to yourself like, you know what, I can use something like that. To comment below, reach out. Our channels. As of this recording, we don't have any social media channel yet, but definitely once we get this published, it will be in our show notes page. And then, beauty educator, you want to give it a try, you want to be part of the beta testers, like we welcome you. If
mhm.
you're a salon owner, you're an influencer, we welcome you. Just, would like to connect with you guys. And if you want to give it a shot and
If you know someone who
oh,
is like a hairstylist and you think that this would really help you as a customer or as the stylist, then yeah, if you share this app, we'll put the link in the description. Right.
all right. So that's episode 1 of Growth Mafia TV. Thanks, Gid, hanging out with me here. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, with Gideon, myself. And there's someone who loves this kind of things. You want to real build business, you're in the right place. Stick around for episode number 2. And you know what? In Growth Mafia, we always have a saying, growth is mandatory. Excuses are not. See you in the next build.
Bye bye.
Bye.